In this video, we are going to learn effective methods of solving percent change problems. We have taken 5 examples, very popular in many exams. We'll look into house price, where the profit has been taken. We'll look into car price after it has been sold at a loss. And we'll figure out percentage increase with parameters. Tax calculation from final amount and an application on calculating the forest area will be considered. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. You can send an email to me directly on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com to learn effectively. Our students are right there on the top, getting admissions to the best universities. Now, let us try to understand solution of these questions one by one. In the solution of the first question, we'll follow a standard method. From that method, we'll learn a shortcut way of finding solution to similar questions that will help you for many competitive exams. So the very first question here is a house is sold for $396,000 after profit of 10% on the original price. Find the original price. So we'll begin with saying that let original price be, let's say C, okay. So of course this is in dollars. Now when you are trying to sell the house on 10% profit means profit is on the cost price. So C plus 10% of the cost price, and that gives you a total amount of 396,000. Clear? What is 10%? 10% is 10 out of 100. So simple step, 10 out of 100, that is 10% of C is equal to 396,000. Clear? 10 out of 100 is 0.1, correct? C plus 0.1 C equals to 396,000. Clear? And C plus zero point 0.1 means 1 plus zero point 0.1, which is 1.1 C is equal to 396,000. So we followed simple steps to get to this result, and from here we can calculate what C is, right? C is 396,000 divided by 1.1. You can use calculator, right? And get the answer. Division by 11 is not difficult. You could do even otherwise, right? However, we are going to use calculator in all our questions. So we get a value which is 360,000. So we get that the original cost price is, so we can say cost is equal to, so you can write down the statement, 360,000. You can check your result, right? 10% of 360,000 is 36,000. So when you add 36,000, you get 396,000, which is your final selling price. Clear? Now let's try to understand a strategy. Simple strategy is we are selling something at 10% profit and we are getting some amount. So that amount is 110%, right? That amount is 110%. 100% of what you had plus 10%. 110% of C is given to you. 110% is what? 110% is 1.10 C. Do you understand? And that is given to you as 396,000. And from here, you could calculate very clearly that this should be 396,000 divided by 1.10, 110%, correct? And you'll get the same answer. So that becomes a shortcut method. So our understanding of all this yields to a standard method which could be used as a shortcut method that helps in competitive exams answering question in a few seconds, right? Great. We'll follow this concept and work on it as we move along. So I hope you are getting me, right? Now, here is the second question, which is a car is sold for $26,600 at a loss of 5% on the cost price. Find the cost price. So we'll keep the cost price as C, right? In dollars. Perfect. Not an issue. Now, when you sell it at 5% loss, means out of that 100, you got only 95, right? So that means 95% of cost is actually equal to 26,600. Makes sense? Correct? 5% loss. You could have written cost minus 5% and then done those four steps and get to this result also. 95% is 95 over 100, right? So 95 over 100, right? This is an additional step which I am showing you. We'll avoid this in the next example, which is 0.95C, right? 6,600. Correct. So now we have to find C, which is very easy. So C is the cost at which we sold, that was a loss, right? So earlier it was more expensive, makes sense, right? And we get our answer. So let's divide 26,600 by 0.95, 28,000. So the cost is so many dollars of the car which has been sold at 5%. You can find 5% of this. 10 is 1 less 0, 14, right? 1400, and 700 if you take away, you get your answer. Right. So we have done this question also. Now we'll apply the shortcut, correct? Okay, not with this one, which is given that D equals to S into T, find the percentage increase when both are increased by 10%. Correct? Now, this is slightly different from what we had been doing. So let's consider something like this. We can take some examples. Find percentage increase when both are increased by 10%. So let's say S equals to, let's say 100, okay. And let's say T is also equal to 100, correct. Or you can take 10, 10 each. So let's take S as 10, T as 10. In that case, the distance D, which is speed into time, will be 10 times 10 or 100. Now, why did I take 10 and 10? Because I got a distance of 100, 100 makes sense. Percent, we are looking for a number which is 100. Okay. So this is our first scenario. Now, find percentage increase when both are increased by 10%. So let's increase S by 10%. So 10% of 10 will be 1, right? So when you add that, you get 11, and T will be also 11, and the distance will be 11 into 11. So distance will be 121. You see that? Now we need to calculate percentage increase. So can you tell me the answer? So percentage increase will be final minus original divided by original, right? Final minus original divided by original, that becomes a formula, times 100 to find percentage increase. So increase is final minus original. So it is 121 minus 100 out of 100 times 100, correct? And that gives you 21 as your answer. So therefore we get, find the percentage increase when both are increased by 10%. It is not 20%. You get the whole idea. It is 21%. So that's a very important thing to look into. So I hope you have understood the concept. It was critical for me to take values and do it very easily, but I could have done without that also, right? But this is easy, correct. Now let's get back to our questions which we were doing. Now here, computer cost $1449, including 15% tax. So tax is included in this. Find the tax paid on this purchase. So so tax is 15% of this, right? So couple of ways to do it. Computer cost this much including tax. So this cost includes the tax, right? So you can say uh, cost plus 15% of C is basically equal to 1449. That is another, that's a way of looking into it, right? So, and you can find C and then you can find the tax on C. That is one way of doing it, correct? So, so in this particular case, you can say 1.15 of C is 1449 or C is equals to 1449 divided by 1.15, correct? So let's find this. 1449 divided by 1.15 and that gives me 1260. So we got 1260 as the cost. Now what is 15% of 1260? So 15% of 1260, which is 0.15 times 1260. Is that clear? So we'll multiply this by 0.15 and we get an answer as 189. You get the idea. So 189 is the tax. Now we have learned shortcut methods of doing the things. Right? This includes 15% tax, right? So that means in this cost of 1449, 15% is the tax and 85% is what? 85% is the cost, right? That is the combination which gives you this particular answer. You get the whole idea, right? So, so that is the question. Now, I hope with this you have understood how do we do the reverse calculation. So, we have done the reverse calculation and found our answer, right? So, we found first the cost and then 15% of the cost to get the answer, which is the tax in this case. Perfect. So, I hope you are there with me, and in case you want to learn, you can always send an email on globalmathinstitute@gmail.com. Here's the last question, which is 60% of forest was lost in a forest fire if 138,000 hectare of the forest remains. How much area was covered in